Hey there, new types. Today is a bit of a fun one, a bit of a meme that I had in the back of my head that I've been saving for a rainy day. Alas, it's been quite warm here on the Pacific West Coast, but that just meant it was time for Nenatrinity to shine. I had a lot of fun with this deck, but my opponents not so much. They called it the TCG War Crimes. I called it peak performance. If you're going to look for something to troll your friends, especially in a mid-range aggro meta, this is going to do it. Fair warning though, this is the Mario Party of decks, the type that can end friendships. It's degenerate, but deep down, aren't we all? I'd like to take a moment to thank you all for tuning in and supporting this channel. We've just broken 500 subscribers, and for me, that was a milestone I didn't think we'd be reaching so soon. Naturally, I'd love to shout out my local LGS and community of players who've allowed me to record these matches that let me post these videos up for you here. I've also had tremendous support from the content creators of the Gundam TCG space and their communities. I'd like to turn your attention to their channels because they're all fantastic creators that bring their own flair to the space that help shape it for today and the future of the game I love. If you're inclined, please check their channels out. I've linked them in the description below. I still can't believe this channel has been growing as it has, but if you're liking what you're seeing, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving the video a like. If you have questions, suggestions, critique, or simply want to banter, please leave a comment below. I read every single one of them, and I do my very best to reply as well. Again, thank you all for your support, and I can't wait to see where this channel will go and what it will grow to. But I think that's enough yapping. It's time to get clapping. Let's get this party started. Big booty blockers, mission start. All right, so we're gonna get started here. My opponent rolls a 4, I roll a 2, so I will be going first, my opponent going second. Generally tells me that he's probably on some sort of mid-range. Most of the belief in my local area is, you go first, so a lot of people like to go first with aggro. My opening hand is a flat Perfect Strike, Rick Diaz, Nena, and Ale Strike, and I opt to keep that. My opponent also keeps his opening hand. So we lay down our shields and we get started over here. I draw a Justice and pass the turn. My opponent passes to me. I get my second resource and say go as well. Opponent leads us off with a Victory Gundam. I follow up with I believe it's my flat. Yeah, my flat in response. Pass the turn there. I don't know what secondary color he's on. He could be on white with Norn, or he could be on red. But he plays down as a Lote and passes his turn. Nope, he plays as a Lote down and sets down a Rhine horse. Gets himself a set of legs. And then passes the turn to me. I drew another flat, so I play that out, and then I play out my Lefrith, I think. Yes, my Lefrith. And then I pass my turn, and my opponent's none too thrilled about that. Plays down a Show of Resolve. Gets himself 2 cards. Passes his turn to me, and I don't know what I drew there, but it was probably another Rick Diaz. So I play my Perfect Strike down, bounce his parts token, and then I play down a Rick Diaz and pass my turn. Got a nice fat wall of blockers that my opponent is none too sure what I'm playing still, other than blocker slop. Plays down the V dash, passes his turn there. Take a swing at his base with my Rick Dias. I offer up the trade if he decides he wants to block with his Zelote. And he actually lets it through. So I take a swing at his base again with my Lefrith, destroying it. I play down the silverbullet. And then I spend one more to throw Nena on it, because I'm still not too sure what he's running. So, but I do know he has Amuros in the deck. So Nena on the silverbullet insulates it. It becomes a 4/7 blocker. Very, very good. One of the highlights of this deck. I take another swing at his shield. He does opt to block that. And I take 3 damage on my Lefrith. I do one more swing at his shield. We're taking out a gun easy from it. Still don't know what his second color is. And I pass my turn. He plays a mining asteroid, letting me know he is on blue-red victory. So I do kind of shift my clock a little bit, decide I need to be somewhat aggressive. He takes a swing with his V-dash at my Lefrith, and I opt to block with my 4/7 silverbullet because I don't want to take that breach damage. He plays down 2 more Zelotes and makes a swing with his victory at my Lefrith, which is a bit of an odd choice, but I assume he's just trying to get some damage on my units while he can. Plays down 4 onto his Zelote, which is an interesting one to see. So I guess he's on Psycho victory. I did draw a neozeong, but I have kind of adjusted my clock just in case he's running something like neozeong as well. So I'm going to be more aggressive here. I do make a swing at his V-dash Gundam. He does block that with his Zelote. I make another swing at his victory, or V-dash. Damn, I'm really bad about that. Sorry, V-dash Gundam. And then I take a swing at his base with my flat, and another swing with my perfect strike. It takes 3 because he blocks it with his Zelote. I crash in to finish off his mining asteroid. I play the Ale Strike, the Rick Dias, and then I play Nena from my hand to my Ale Strike and bounce his part token, and make a final swing at his shields, leaving him with 2 left and a board full of blockers to deal with. He takes a swing at my silverbullet, so I trade my Rick Dias for it. Plays down a Show of Resolve, digging for an answer of some sort because I do have lethal on board. He plays G-Fred and puts down a Nyan. And unfortunately for him, he's got no more resources and no real things to swing at. Because even if he swings at something, I do have a 4/7 blocker that he absolutely just can't kill. Granted, I can't kill it in return, but I don't need to. He has tapped out, and we're basically at game here. I play out the silver bullet again to, add insult to injury. My opponent is beside himself looking at this slop. And that's the game. Alrighty. I think that was a fairly good match. A little more one-sided than I like these videos to display. However, honestly, the way this deck goes, and in the few games I've been able to get recordings of it at locals, these are the way they go. And I'd like to have shown you the neozeong, the justice, the naval bombardments, and the archangel. The one game I did get the naval bombardment and archangel and even neozeong to go off, my camera, I didn't hit the right button to start, so I might maybe get some bonus footage of that in another coming locals or just some side games for fun just to see if I can really show it off. But as you saw in the video, this deck can get up to those levels 8, 9 without much of an issue. And the major trick on that is just holding your full frontal and your neozeong together as much as you can. There's not a ton of dig, it's just the overflowing affections, but this deck chugs along, it does its thing, and it can keep up with most decks. I played a pretty good handful of games against Blurple, against 1 Year War, and this deck can hang with all of them. As you saw, it has a pretty good synergy with nenatrinity, especially with the perfect strike, the silver bullet, and the ale strike. Putting Nena on those units gives them 4/7 and insulates them from Amuro rests. The other notable things is Nena Trinity on the Justice makes it a 5/8. On the neozeong, it is a 6/10, and that just goes so hard. I had considered one other really funny thing with this deck, but it didn't really work out. There was a version of it that ran Kigali, and I didn't run the neozeong. I just ran a pure white thing and threw in a couple bigger white units and Kigali on top of them, like with Justice, to give it blockers. And the entire deck was just basically blockers and also a couple of unforeseen incidents. Ultimately, the way this current version works gives it a much more potent endgame, and you can really climb to that when you need to. But as you saw in this game, you don't need to. You generally trade really well. 4/7 is an incredible stat line, especially when you can put it on something like the silver bullet that can't be pinged. And because it can't be pinged, as a 4/7, they usually have to invest a fair amount of units into it. This goes double for stuff like Blurple, where not a lot of their units exceed 3 to 4 AP. So you're taking a minimum of 2 units when you have a silver bullet out in most cases. The odd one out is the Adapt with a Mika on it, or, an Amuro Gundam. However, those aren't very frequent. And the other thing is Nena on the silver bullet, on the perfect strike, on the ale strike makes it a 4/7, which means even a Gundam Amuro can't actually swing and kill it. That's actually very, very good for the math. But at the same time, it also opens up the other part of the deck where you have stuff like Flat and Lefrith and Rick Diaz that you can use naval bombardment on when they Gundam Amuro you. And I've done that a lot of the times. And I have actually gotten to a point where if I can afford to mulligan into it, it's something I'm hoping to see in my mulligan. Because having one for decks that are running Amuro can actually get you there really hard and swing tempo super, super well because they don't often expect naval bombardment right now, and that's something pretty important. Other than that, uh, as a disappointment to, other people, this does run Kira. This is running some Kira slop. However, man, the Kira slop is pretty good in this one, and Perfect Strike and Kira is still really strong. I actually like it a lot more than Ale Strike Kira right now because Perfect Strike gives me that 4 HP blocker, but if I need to take something out like a Gundam Amuro, I can put Kira onto the Perfect Strike and swing into it, and it will still survive. That usually means that my Perfect Strike has taken out 2 cards on parity, and they still need to invest 1 more card to take it out. And for me, that's more than enough. That is value. That's the type of value you're looking to get in this deck. For every 1 to 2 cards that you're spending, you're trying to get an extra card plus, right? So your Lafrith, if it can take out 2 things, or if it can take out 1 thing and then chip into another, so one of your other cards can take it out, you're getting that value there, and that's where your pseudo card advantage exists. The other thing is, you don't necessarily need Kira. You could put another pilot in here. If you're looking to be a little bit less cheesy, maybe you could consider putting in Atherin, right, over Kira. He works with Justice, and he still works with the Ale Strike, and you are able to maybe put in something like the Aegis Gundam, right? It's really up to you on that one. The deck does change. Obviously, it stops being the meme of big booty blockers, but the core of Nena with Perfect Strike, Silverbullet, and Ale Strike are what makes this deck what it is, really. I'd also say Nena with the Rick Diaz is another one. A 3/6 blocker is pretty difficult to deal with, and it outlasts a lot of things. But I think that's gonna be it. Not much to really say. At the heart of this is just a neozeong with a pile of blockers deck. Sometimes gotta make your opponent swing for the fences, and you just gotta make sure your fence is a castle wall that they're not breaking through.
That's it for now, though. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace.